I'm Chris Chambers and welcome back to Blue Stem Botanicals. Today we're going to be making a mocktail and we're going to call this the Fall Spritz. In a mocktail, we're just going to be using fresh juices and then the fresh modifiers that are made right here at the Blue Stem farm, including this beautiful lemongrass simple syrup. This is grown right here, in fact, directly behind me. And you're going to find that there's a beautiful vegetative and floral note that comes from using a simple syrup grown directly and locally. The nice thing about this is that you're going really truly farm to table and you're not adding in any kind of byproducts or manufactured anything. True to form, beautiful simple syrup straight from the farm. And then we're going to also be aromatically aromatizing our cocktail with this elderberry glycerin. And this is a beautiful example of how concentrated you can get with the beautiful flora and fauna that happen right here at the farm. It's honestly a drop of paradise, and you're going to get a sip of that just to sort of bring out the edge of the drink. You don't want to overpower, it's very strong, but we want to make sure that there's just an added edge to this beautiful drink, and we're going to use the glycerin for that. First thing is first, we're going to need a couple organic fruits. We have a whole lemon and a whole lime. First, we're going to take this lemon and we're going to cut it in half. And the idea being, I want all of this fresh juice. There's about an ounce or so of fresh juice in any given one of these limes or lemons. It's a really beautiful way to go. You never want to get processed juice if you can afford it. It's really just that much of a difference. Now I've got a Yari glass here that I'm going to be juicing into and a fine mesh strainer. And the fine mesh strainer is going to make sure that I don't have any kind of extra anything going into my drink. These are really great. You know, you can find these things pretty much anywhere across the board if you look at Amazon or you go into your local grocery store, but they really do a wonderful job. So I'm going to fresh juice right into it. There we go. And this is going to catch any kind of pith or any kind of seeds because that's not what we want. We just want the fresh juice. Oh, one of the niceties about being at the farm, I can just chuck things. Now it's fertilizer. So now we're going to take this next piece, juice that in as well, and I should have just about, I'd say, an ounce of fresh juice in here. Make sure not to lose any. Now we want to move on, and you want to make sure you get rid of this pith as you keep moving, and move into the lime. So I'm going to cut the lime in half, and repeat the same process. I just want to juice my lime right into my lemon juice. All right. And one more. Look at all that beautiful fresh juice. And the thing is, when you make it yourself, added to the fact that you're using the locally sourced ingredients for the modifiers, you're not going to get more fresh than that. I mean, it really does bring out the essence, the quintessence of what a good cocktail should be. So keep that in mind. Now, both of my juices are set and ready. At this point in time, I'm going to be looking at the next steps where I want to go with my modifiers. Now, I'm not adding any alcohol or ethanol, so I don't have to worry about sort of the steps, but I am going to keep the ice away. One of the things I've chosen for this is pellet ice, which you can find at different retailers, or you can purchase a pellet ice maker for home. But pellet ice really gives a beautiful look, and it sort of separates out the flavorings like we're looking for. All right, so I have here just about, I'd say, probably 2 ounces. So I want to have 2 ounces of that fruit juice ready to go, and I'll move that aside. Now I'm going to build this cocktail in this tumbler. And the reason why is because I'm going to shake it. And the reason why I'm going to shake it is because we're using fruit juice. When you use fruit juice, there are cellular makeups within it. If you remember the little chlorophyll bubble, the oval from high school, I know I'm reaching far back for some of us. But what happens is those cell walls are actually holding sugars and other available aromatics. So when we shake something as opposed to stirring, stirring is about not bruising, right? We want to be gentle with the spirit. We want to be gentle. We don't want the ice to chip. In this case, I'm going to add ice and we are going to pulverize the juice. And by pulverizing the juice, we'll release all those sugars and aromatics and really bring out the freshness of what the juice has inside. So I'll add my 2 ounces of juice. There we go. Always remember to do this in a clean space because you're going to dirty it up. That's part of baking, that's part of cooking, and that's part of cocktailing. So keep that in mind. I have that. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of this simple syrup. Now remember, If you have a Japanese jigger like this, which I highly suggest, you'll have markings inside that show 1.5 ounces, which you should maybe be able to see from there. So I'm gonna add that 1.5 ounces and go right into my tumbler. There we go. I'm gonna add some ice and we're gonna shake this up. Now I'm using standard kitchen ice for the shaking, and the reason being is that I don't need this to be looking decorative. I just need this to look the way I want it at the end, which is properly diluted. So I'm going to keep the large pieces of ice in the shaking tumbler, but we'll use the small pellet ice for the actual look. Remember to make sure that your tumbler is very tight because it's going to want to go all over your kitchen, and that's not something you want either. You'll notice as I'm shaking that the tumbler is going to get a little bit of frosty. And the reason being is that the thermodynamics of the tumbler are actually redistributing all of the chill and dilution throughout the tumbler. That's good. Now the big question a lot of people have is, how do I get this off? How do I? The real quick way, and I'll show you above, you'll see sort of a crescent moon right here. If you hold tight and hit with the palm of your hand, it will come loose. That's the whole idea. It's basically going to be held there just by a little bit of thermodynamics, but you are going to be able to crack that open. So now I'm ready to pour, but my finish glass is going to need a little bit of ice. So we've got our pellet ice here. There we go. Remember, this is all part of the look. It's part of the show. And we're going to just lightly pour this in to our glass. Now when you get to about halfway, this is the part where I want you to top with Gosling's ginger beer. I don't work for Gosling's, I just think they make great ginger beer. And we're gonna top like such. Beautiful, beautiful effervescence and bubbles. Now, the last step that we're gonna wanna do is give it a look. It's a mocktail, but it's still a drink. It's something you're gonna serve to your friends and family, and you wanna make sure it has that look like every other cocktail you've been making that evening. My suggestion is do a little bit of rinding, and then if you have a farm accessible, maybe a little more. So first I'm gonna pull a rind from my orange. Then I'm going to pull a rind from my lemon. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of this fresh mint, just a twig or two. And because mint is so wonderful when expressed, we're gonna just give that a quick slap, and that'll bring out all those beautiful mint aromatics. I've got a spear here. I'm going to place the mint between the peels. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place this spear right in between everything. There we go. And we'll have a nice, beautiful look for the top of our cocktail. What I want to do next is I want to add a little bit of extra look and flavor. So now as we're finishing up here, I have this beautiful hibiscus bud that we grew right here on the farm to my left. And I've just taken it and slightly cut a very small sliver there, you can see, and I've just pulled it apart lightly because I want it to hold its shape. And that I'm going to place right on the edge here. There we go. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful look. Now, before we finish, everything is look, everything is flavor, everything is effervescent, but I want it to have just one more kick. And that's where the glycerin comes in. This is the part where we're going to be able to really aromatize everything beyond the mint, beyond the lemon, beyond the orange, beyond even the hibiscus, which is going to give you just a little bit of aromatic. The elderberry is just there as an accent note. We really hope you've enjoyed your time here at Blue Stem today. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining us. This mocktail is for you. Cheers.